All right, this is the video for the Chapter 11A practice test. Feel free to watch the whole thing or skip ahead to things that you know you have wrong. Number one is just making sure that we have all the formulas correct. That's going to be something you're going to want on your note card if you don't have it. So the first two are talking about prisms. So let's just say our prism is a triangular prism. So we have two triangles, and then we have there's our shape there. So prisms have two different bases, and then they have a bunch of rectangles that are called lateral sides. So this would be a lateral side, and so would the bottom, and so on and so forth. So with these, for the lateral area, well, first off, sorry, the area of the bases we just call B. So there's two bases, okay? Lateral area, we want the area of this rectangle and the bottom rectangle and the rectangle on the back. Well, the better way to do that is just to find the perimeter of one of the bases and then multiply that by how far the bases are apart, which is the height. Okay, so then when you get to surface area, this idea comes into surface area. Surface area is just all the rectangles plus there's two of the exact same size base. So let's look and match those. The lateral area of a prism then, let's see if I can find that. That would be option C. And then the surface area of the prism would be option D. Well, for cylinders then, cylinders have instead, they have circles for bases. Uh, good enough. So what we need is we need to look at how things change. Well, the lateral area, it's still perimeter times h, but the perimeter of a circle is the circumference, which is 2 pi r times h. The base, instead of just saying whatever the area formula is, well, now we know that's always going to be a circle, so that's going to be pi r squared. So for the surface area for a cylinder, we're going to have this piece, the 2 pi r h, plus 2 pi r squared. I know that my writing's a little bit scrunched down there, but let me match it down here. The lateral area of a cylinder is going to be that 2 pi r h, which is option G. Then option F would be the surface area. This piece, the first part is the lateral, the second part is the two circles. Okay, so then let's compare the prism to the pyramid. A pyramid will just have one base, so let's make it a square pyramid. Oops, wrong tool. Okay, so if it's a square pyramid, there's a square on the bottom, and then there's four triangles. So that changes a couple things. Lateral area, instead of perimeter times h, all these lateral sides are now triangles. So to get the area of a triangle, it's 1/2 base times height instead of just base times height. And then there's one other thing that needs to change. There's two different types of height. There's a height of the triangle, and there's a height of the pyramid, which we're not really going to use until the next half of the chapter. We called this slanted one L, or slant height, so the height of a lateral side. So instead of 1/2 p times h, we're going to write it as 1/2 p times L. Okay, and then B is just going to be the area of the base. Well, there's only one of them, so now I don't have to double it like I was doing up here. So the lateral area of a pyramid is h, 1/2 p times L. The surface area of a pyramid is, if I can find it, 1/2 p times L, or LA plus B. There we go. Option B. So the lateral area, but there's only one base now. All right, cones. Well, cones are going to have just the one circular base, and then they're going to have again kind of a weird lateral area. But we still need a slanted height of a cone. Okay, the lateral area of a cone is the slant height times pi times r, pi r l, and then the base is pi r squared. So pi r l is option E, and pi r l plus pi r squared is option A. So make sure you have all the correct formulas before you get to the test. They're in your guided notes, but we always recommend making a note card. Have them all written down in the same place. Okay, and then if we submit that note card, we might be able to get a little bit of credit towards our test. All right, so now we are looking at surface area and lateral area of whatever they had us find formulas for up here. So number 2, it says prism right in the picture, or right in the directions. You can also look at the picture to figure out what kind of shape you have. This is a triangular prism. We have triangles for bases and then 3 rectangles. This kind of top side, bottom, and left. So the formula for that, the surface area, which we'll do as our last step, the surface area is equal to LA plus 2B. Well, LA is perimeter times height of the prism, not height of the triangle, and then B this time, it's a triangle. We have triangle bases, so 1/2 base of the triangle, height of the triangle. So we got to figure out those two things, and then once we do that, we can add them up to get our answer down here. So for lateral area, we need the perimeter of the triangle and the height. So the perimeter of the triangle is 2 plus 5 plus this side. It's not marked here, but it's up here. So 2 plus 5 plus 5.39, that gives us 12.39. We're going to multiply that by the height. Now, that's not the height of the triangle. That's how far the triangles are away from each other, which is 26. So the lateral area, and then we're rounding to the nearest whole number, will be 12.39 times 26, which is 322.14. We're going to round that to the nearest whole number, 322. And I think we're in square meters. So that's one of our answers. Area of one triangle is base times height divided by 2. So 1/2 times 5 times 2. Well, 1/2 times 5 times 2, that's like half of 10. So we have 5 square meters for one base. And then since it's a prism, we know there's 2 bases. We can go get our answer. We have 322 plus 2 times, we found that one base is 5 square units. Okay, so that's 322 plus 10, or 332 square meters for our answer. So lateral area is 322, and 332 is our total surface area. Okay, what we have next for number 3 is another prism. This is a rectangular prism. So with these, it doesn't really matter what you use as the bases. Most people will use the bottom and the top if it's a rectangular prism, a box. So we could use the 19 and the 6 to figure out B. But we're going to be in the same, since we're still prism, we're still LA plus 2B. That part's not going to change. So we'll get to that in a bit. With the only difference between what we just had, LA is still perimeter times height. B, instead of 1/2 base times height, now is just base times height. So those things will change, or that's the one thing that'll change. Everything else remains the same. So for lateral area, we need to do the perimeter of the base. Well, the perimeter of the bottom, we have 19 plus 6, that's 25. So we'll add another 25, a 19 back here and a 6 right here. The perimeter of the bottom is actually just 50. All right, then the height is how far the bases are apart. So the bottom and the top are 2 meters away from each other, or we have a lateral area of 100. All right, square meters for this problem. All right, the surface area, we need B for that. Well, we have base times height, which now we're talking about the base of the bottom and the height of the bottom. So we have 19 times 6, right? So we have 19 times 6 for one base, which is 114. But remember, that's just one base. We're going to end up doubling that 114 for our final answer. So we have 100 plus 2 times 114, since there's two 114s, top and bottom. So that's 100 plus 228. So it looks like we're at 328 square meters for our final answer. So back to the test, 328 should be our final answer. And then let's move on to number 4. So number 4, we still have a prism. So we're still the same formula at the end. But what's different is it's a hexagonal based prism. So that means that B, the way we get B, is going to change significantly. So that's 1/2 ASN, since we have a regular polygon this time. LA remains the same, perimeter times height. So we can get that one first. That's usually the easy one. The side length of this one, of this hexagon, is 6. So there's 6 sides that are all 6 centimeters. So the perimeter is 6 times 6, or 36. The height is how far those bases are apart, which is 15. So we are going to do 36 times 15. And that will give us 540. And 540 is then our lateral area. Then we are now at the point where we can do our area of one base, and then we'll double that at the end. We have the apothem given to us. That's what A stands for. That is 3 square root of 3. We'll look at rounding in a second. We have the side length, which is 6, and we know that there are 6 sides. So that's going to be 36 again. So let's see. We have 36 times 1/2 is 18 times 3. So 54 square root of 3 is our area of one base. We can go to the calculator for that in just a second. The longer we wait to round, the better. So we are going to get to the point where we're ready for our final answer. LA we got was 540. We're adding 2 of the bases to that, which is 2 times 54 square root of 3. I'm going to put all of that in the calculator so then I can round at the very end. So it says round to the nearest tenth. Putting everything in the calculator at one step at the end gives you the best rounding. That means you didn't round too much and have rounding error. So 540 plus 2 times 54 square root of 3 gives us 727.06. That's going to round to 727.1. I think this time we were square centimeters, and that's going to be our answer. So we got 540 for blank 1. We got 727.1 for blank 2. All right, now let's move on to cylinder. Question 5 and 6 are both surface area and lateral area of cylinders. So remember, the lateral area of a cylinder is 2 pi r/h. The base of a cylinder, the area of the base of a cylinder is pi r squared. The surface area of a cylinder is those things added together, LA plus 2B. Okay, well, we're going to leave our answer in terms of pi, which means we're not going to put pi in the calculator at all. This cylinder here has a diameter of 14, which means we have a radius of half of 14. So we have 2 times pi, the radius is 7. The height is how far the circles are apart from each other, which is 18. So we'll go to the calculator for that. We have 14 times 18. And our lateral area is 252 pi. Okay. The area of one base is pi times the radius squared. Radius is 7. So we have 49 pi for one base. Boogity, 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 boogity. So we're ready to get our final answer. We have 252 pi. There's 2 bases that are 49 pi each. If you do 2 times 49, you get 98, plus 252 is 350 pi square centimeters. So that's going to be our surface area, 350. All right, next one doesn't have a picture, but has the same formulas for what we were looking at doing. So the lateral area we'll do first. It's 2 times pi times r times h. They told us here that the radius is 39 and the height is 33. So we're doing 2 times pi times radius of 39 times height of 33. And that's going to give us, so let's do that. So we have 2 times 39. We're doing this in terms of pi again, times 33. 2 times 39 times 33 is 2,574 pi. That's LA. B is pi r squared, pi times 39 squared, and 39 squared is 1,521. That's the area of one base. We need to double that to figure out both of them together. We'll come back to that number in just a second. The surface area is adding 2,574 times pi plus 2 times 1521 times pi. Well, we know that that's 3,042. So 3,042 plus 2,574 is 5,616. So we get 5,616 times pi, and I think we are still in square centimeters. Nope, square inches this time. Okay, next up is pyramid. So two things different from pyramid compared to prism. One thing is there's only one base, so we don't have to double it anymore. The other thing is the lateral area, or the way that we get the lateral area, changes. So now, instead of just perimeter times height, it's 1/2 the perimeter times height, and we need L, the slanted height, which is this 7 this time, the height of one of the triangles. So for lateral area, we're pretty much ready to go. We have 1/2 the perimeter of the base. This is a 5 by 5 square, so 5, 5, 5, and 5. They will add up to 20, 5 times 4. And then the slant height is 7. So 1/2 of 20 is just 10. So 10 times 7 is 70. 70 square feet is our lateral area. So that's our answer for this one. No rounding necessary. Now the area of the base is a square, base times height, or side length squared. We have 5 times 5, which is 25. One base is 25 square feet, and actually there is only one base this time since it's a pyramid. So the surface area is LA plus 1B, which is 70 plus 25, which is 95 square feet. So this one is 95. All right. This pyramid just has a different capital B formula. So if we look at that one, we still have the same formula for lateral area, right? L is 16. The perimeter, let's see, we have side lengths of 10, and this is a hexagon on the bottom. There's 6 sides. So we have a perimeter of 10 times 6, which is 60. And then we have the lateral height, which is the slanted triangle height, which is 16. Okay. So we have 1/2 times 60 times 16. So that's just like doing 30 times 16. Oops, 30 times 16. And we have 480. So our lateral area is 480, whatever our units are, square meters. Okay, so that's LA. We have to find the area of what the base is, and we're going to add that to 480. So this time, capital B is 1/2 ASN. So A is given. A is 5 squared of 3. Side length was given to be 10. Number of sides is 6. So we're doing 60 times 1/2, which is 30. 30 times 5 is 150. The area of the base is 150 times square root of 3. So in that case, we have a decimal. We'll get that in just a second. We'll do everything at the same time. We're rounding to the nearest whole number here. So this one is LA plus B, 480 plus 150 square root of 3. Let's go to the calculator to type that one in, and then we'll get our final answer. So 480 plus 150 times the square root of 3. So that's 739.8. If we round that to the nearest whole number, that's 740 square meters. So we have 740 square meters for our surface area. So now we're on number 9. It's another pyramid, but the issue is they gave us the wrong type of height. So we have to go and figure out how to fix that. So to do lateral area, we still want the same thing we've been doing, 1/2 times P times L. Problem is we don't have L. So we have the perimeter of the bottom. 3 times 4 is 12. All right, but I don't know what the slanted height is. So that's going to cause me a little bit of trouble. So to figure out what L is, I need to think about this triangle here. So that triangle will have a height of 6. And this is going to be right in the middle of the base, so the 3 gets cut in half to be a 1.5. I need to get L with Pythagorean theorem. 1.5 squared plus 6 squared equal to L squared. So we have 1.5 squared. All right, that's 2.25. I'm going to add 36 to that. That's 6 squared. So the square root of 38.25, which is 6.18, that's going to be my lateral height, 6.18. Okay, so I'm going to multiply that times 1/2 and times 12. Well, 1/2 times 12 is just 6. I'm going to multiply that by 6. So the lateral area of this one is 37.11. We'll round that to the nearest hundredth for that part. So that's lateral area. Base will be really easy then. The base is 3 times 3, which is 9. So the surface area is that 37.11 plus 9. Well, that's just 46.11 to the nearest tenth. That's 46.1. So the thing that was tricky about that one, so lateral area would be 37.1. Surface area would be 46.1. The thing that was tricky there, what you need to look out for, if they give you that inside height, that doesn't really help us until we talk about volume, which is the next half of the chapter. All right, let's move on to question 10. So there's a lot going on for number 10. There's a pyramid, and then there's a rectangular or a square prism on the bottom. Okay, yep, rectangular prism. So we need to find the surface area of this. Remember, that means the sides that are on a surface. So the bottom of the pyramid, which is the same as the top of the prism, I'm not going to count because that's facing the inside of the shape. So what I'm going to add up is the lateral area of the pyramid, the lateral area of the prism, and then just the bottom. The bottom of this prism would be on the outside. So there's just going to be one base added in. So the LA of the pyramid is going to be 1/2 times the perimeter times the slanted height. We do have the slanted height for this. The slanted height is 3.3. The perimeter looks like we're 4.5 times 4.5, so it'll be the same here. That adds up to 9, or if you do 4.5 times 4, the perimeter is 18, and then the slanted height is given to be 3.3. So we're basically doing 9 times 3.3, and we get 29.7. So that is one of the numbers we need for the end. So that's all of the triangles areas added up. Okay, let's do the lateral area of the prism. That's perimeter times height. So the perimeter should be the same, 18. Okay, the perimeter of this, the bottom, is the same as the perimeter of the top. The height is 6 this time. So we're doing 18 times 6. That is 108. And then what we need is just the area of the bottom. So there is 1b that we need to figure out, which is just base times height, which is 4.5 times 4.5. All right, so we're doing 4.5 squared. There we go, which is 20.25. And what we're going to do is we're going to add all that stuff up. So the surface area is the 29.7 plus the 108 plus the 20.25, which is 157.9. Rounding that to the nearest whole number would be 158 square units. So 158 square feet. And now we're on to cones. So cones are going to be a simpler formula again. So we're back to simplifying it a little bit. For a cone, the LA of a cone is just pi RL. So that part, R is 9. So we have pi times 9. Make sure they gave you the correct height, which is the slanted height, not the inside height. So 21 is the correct height for this one. So 9 times 21 is 189. So 189 times pi is our lateral area. There's only one base of a cone, so we need to do B, which is pi r squared. And we, again, know that r is 9. So we're doing pi times 9 squared, which is 81 pi. If we add those together, LA plus B, we have 189 pi plus 81 pi. So you can do that in your calculator if you want. 189 plus 81, we get 270 times pi for our final answer. So 270 pi is our surface area of the cone. Question number 12 is the same idea, except for now you see one where we don't have the correct height. So we do know that R is 10, but they don't give us L, they gave us H. So remember how we fixed that. We have 10 and 19. We need to use Pythagorean theorem for L. So that's 10 squared, which is 100. 19 squared, which is 361, equal to L squared. Or we are going to take the square root of 461 to get L. So the square root of 461 is 21.47. This one, it looks like we're not leaving in terms of pi, so we're going to put all that into the calculator here to get our lateral area. So we're going to do our 21.47, which I already have, times 10 pi. So 674.5 is our answer to the nearest tenth for the lateral area. All right, then the surface area is just going to be adding a base onto that. So that's pi times 10 squared, which is 100 pi. And then getting that, well, hang on, I'll get that I'll do that as a better part as just putting this into the calculator. So if I take what I have here and I add 100 pi to it, then I get my answer of 988. Oops, wrong letter there. It's LA plus B, which is 674.5 plus 100 pi, which is 988.7. Again, you can probably get rounding error in there if you're not careful. it's best to do everything in the calculator at the very end all at once. All right, looks like our next thing is going to be some word problems. We're going to figure out, well, still LA and SA, but we just have to get the information from the word problem instead of the picture. We have a regular pentagonal pyramid, so that means we're going to have for base, it's going to be 1/2 ASN for the base. It's a pyramid, which means we're going to have triangular faces, 1/2 PL, and then our surface area is going to be combining those two. Okay, so the lateral area, do we have everything we need for that? Let's see. We have a slant height of 14, which we do need in that formula. So 14 goes here. We have 1/2, and we got to figure out if we know the perimeter. The base side length of 6. So there's 5 sides that are each 6. So that would be a perimeter of 30, 5 times 6. So we have 1/2 times 15 times, or I'm sorry, 1/2 times 30 times 14, which is like 15 times 14, which is 210. That's our answer for lateral area, 210. And then the surface area, we'll be adding the base in. Did they tell us the apothem? Yes, they did, 4.1. Side length of 6, number of sides, 5. So we're going to take 1/2 times 30 again, that's 15, times 4.1, oops, which is 61.5. And then our surface area is 210 plus 61.5. Since it's a pyramid, I don't need to double the 61.5. So 271.5 would be my answer for nearest tenth for surface area. Okay, all right, so now we are into spheres, and I guess that wasn't in the first question with the formulas, but they don't have too hard of a formula. It's 4 pi r squared. So if they give you r, it's really quick. And if we're going in terms of pi, which is really nice this time we are. So it looks like we're going to get a big number, but so our radius is 60. So we're just going to put 60. R is the only thing that ever changes in the sphere formula. So we have 4 pi times 60 squared. I'm not going to put the pi in, so I'm going to just do the 4 and the 60 squared. So 14,400 times pi is my surface area. So, and we're in meters squared. So 14,400. Those go pretty quick. This one, second one, they're giving us a diameter instead. Again, only one thing ever changes for surface area of a sphere, and that is whatever the radius is. So what we need to look at doing then is just changing what goes in here. So that means we're going to put in the new radius. So we have 14 here for a diameter, which means I'm going to put 7 into the formula there. So 7 squared is 49. 49 times 4 is 196. So this one has an answer of 196 pi. The surface area of a sphere with a circumference of 13. Now that one's even a little bit different. So if they give you the circumference, I'll start over on this one. If they give you the circumference, remember that the way they get circumference is by this formula, 2 pi r. Again, r is the only thing that's a variable there. So if they told me the circumference is 13, I can get r by dividing by 2 pi. Be very careful with your calculator on that part. I would put parentheses around the 2 pi, because if your calculator isn't smart like mine is, where it's just automatically putting the pi on the bottom, you might end up getting an answer that's actually bigger than 13, which wouldn't make any sense. So we're going to work with our radius being 2.07 for right now. All right, now we're going to get the surface area of that sphere. So we're going to go back to our 4 pi r squared formula. So 4 pi times 2.07 squared. Let's punch that in. So we're going to do 4 times pi times 2.07, and that is going to be squared. So I'm going to make sure that I didn't square the whole thing here. Oops. And I'm having all kinds of issues with that. Good. All right, so we have 53.84. So they're telling us to round to the nearest tenth for this one. So we're going to keep that at 53.8 for our final answer. And we're on to the last question. So these last questions, going backwards from finding the, if you know the surface area of something, so this time it's a cone, finding something else out, like the slant height. So we're going to go backwards. Remember our formula. We have surface area of this cone is equal to pi RL plus pi r squared. They want, what's the slant height? That's L, so that's the only thing we don't know. So we know the surface area is 70 pi. Put the pi's in for now. They're going to go away in a second. Pi times, they told us r is 5. And then again, we know that r is 5. So we're just going to use algebra and solve this for L. So what we don't know is this L right here. We're going to go find it. Okay? We're going to work on finding that. So I'm going to first write this as 5 pi times L. And then 5 squared is 25, so I'm going to keep that as 25 pi. So what I can do is I can subtract 25 pi from either side, trying to get L all by itself. All right, if you do that, you end up with 45 pi on this side, equal to 5 pi L. These canceled out. We're on our last step. If we divide both sides by 5 pi, a couple things will happen. First thing that will happen is the pi's will cancel. All this stuff is gone, so all that's left on this side is L. Pi's are gone, so we're just doing 45 divided by 5, which is 9. So our slant height is 9 inches. All right, that's your practice test key. Feel free to rewatch anything that you need. Email me as soon as you know you have questions you still need help with.